Hey, welcome. Okay, well, we plan and God laughs, I guess. um, good, good evening and welcome to the Paul Report. I am here for the second week in a row. I know that's crazy, but here I am. Um, Looking forward to, I don't want to say future shows because I have stuff for tonight. But again, we're still a work in progress. And what I was going to say in the intro before I was rudely interrupted by, the technology not working, is that I have some stuff lined up for tonight. And obviously, the technology overlords have not been very kind to me so far. So I was hoping to be able to take a phone call or two and maybe do a game. But the game's definitely not going to happen tonight. But definitely could possibly do a phone call when we talk about our main subject for tonight. Or even really anything else. I think I can figure that out. So here's to hoping. So, excuse me. Hope everyone is doing well this week. It's a bit windy outside. It was a bit rainy this week. Not a lot of sun going on. It's April, folks. A lot of things in April. There's rain, there's snow, there's wind, there's some sunshine, but I think overall April is a crappy weather month. What is it? Was it March that's in like a lion, out like a lamb, or is it April that does that? I don't know. Either way, it's April, it's springtime, and life is coming back to nature and such. I have to say that the delay on Facebook is approximately like 20 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds. And the delay on YouTube is about 20 seconds. So, yay, I guess. I don't know. I had some issues getting the YouTube link fast enough, but I did get it in there. So I realized my buddy Dan reached out to me and says I couldn't find the Facebook thing last week. And I was like, it's right there. It's on my thing. And turns out that when I submitted the program to go out to Facebook last week, for the settings, I had only me listed instead of public. So the only person who could see the Facebook link was me. And you know what? I didn't need to see it because, quite frankly, I'm here. Go figure. So anyway, I figured it out this week that it should be broadcasting on Facebook. If someone is on Facebook and they want to tell me that they see it, that would be grand. That way I could, just make sure that it is streaming on Facebook and not, I'm not lost in the ether again. So that would be cool. What is this? Oh, that's kind of cool. Anyway, as I continue to rebuild this show, I've been spending a fair bit of time wondering what this iteration of the Paul Report is going to be. Before it was, me talking about whatever was on my mind. We dabbled in politics. We dabbled in entertainment. We had my buddy Andre come on, who is a master of the moving picture. I had my buddy Mark come on. He is a master of so many things. Maybe a mass debater. I don't know. Just kidding, Rico. But he and I would get into different subjects. I'd have other people on talking about things. I've been trying endlessly to get other people who I might not know so well, but they have a knowledge that they could share with us. Kenny McD, happy belated birthday, and thank you for seeing me on Facebook. It was fun, but I always felt the show was lacking something. So I'm trying to kind of incorporate some new things, keep some of the old things that were working, and maybe rework some of the things that kind of worked. Like, I stopped doing the GFY award, and I stopped it just because, I felt like it was a little mean-spirited at times. And I know I went after a lot of conservative Republicans, our current administration, our president. I went after him a fair bit. He got, I think, a lot of awards. But it wasn't, it was just because I felt mean-spirited about it. And I didn't want to put out all that mean stuff into the world. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to give out the award ever again. It just means I'm going to kind of rework it a little bit, so maybe we'll have a little bit of fun with it, but also kind of make sure that, if people do dumb things, we're going to give them an award for it. And I'm going to, again, try not to make it all about, politicians and things like that. I like to get some regular people. I like to get some people that I might know and tongue in cheek and do that. And it would be, something that I would look back on or look to and just do. I want to be entertaining. I want to be insightful. I would certainly want to be funny. And maybe every once in a while, maybe some controversy. Maybe. And again, I'm still iffy on the politics because, quite frankly, over the past several years, it's just been difficult talking about politics. And it's difficult because there's one side, I'm not sure which hand that is. There's one side that, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I just know that when you talk about both sides and you talk about, communication between the two, the problem I find is civility. And I like that, Ken. I might actually use that. Politics. I like that. I'm going to give you credit for that, too. But no, I find like civility is sometimes lost. And I won't name names. If you've been on my Facebook page, you'll know who it is, but I'm not going to broadcast who it is. But I went go-rounds with a couple of people who called me a communist because I couldn't tell them that I supported the president and or the flag of the United States, Old Glory. And I told them that, quite frankly, the Constitution and, quite frankly, the Bible gives me two outs on that. The Constitution gives me, the right to express myself and the freedom of speech. And, I don't have to be bound by, what other people think on this particular subject. And also by the Bible, because in the teachings of the word of Hashem, he gave us free will. So again, not bound by anything. Free will is given to us as humans. So these folks deemed me, all right, so if you're watching on Facebook, my apologies, but it seems like Facebook just took a nosedive. Of course, you won't be seeing this because, quite frankly, I've lost my Facebook feed. So I wonder if I can add a feed. I've never tried this. Start a new recording. Check for updates. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I apologize, folks. I want to get my Facebook folks up and running here. So let's see. Nope, that's not it. That's my previous post. All right. All right. I'm going to have to do this. Let's see. I apologize for this. I care about my peoples. Sorry, FB folks. Lost the stream. Please go to YouTube feed. All right. Hopefully they'll make it over here. Again, so bummed out. Yeah, silly Facebook. What's up, Rico? Yeah, silly Facebook. I hope that they get the message and they see the Facebook feed. All right. Anyway, hopefully they'll be here. I hope. But what was I saying? So anyway, it's just there's no civility because what happened is that there was just a lot of like picking and trying to speak to people, but all they want to focus on is what their belief is. It's their belief or nothing. And I'm not going to say that, the liberal side that I subscribe to is any better, but it just gets convoluted when you try to be civil and they just won't be civil. And when you're looking at both sides, like if I'm talking to someone who supports the president and they're not being civil, but I'm trying to talk to them and speak to them in a calm manner, or someone's trying to talk to me and I'm being a lunatic. Doesn't happen very often, but maybe it does. So it just goes both ways. So if we just find civility anytime we talk about politics, people are very wanting to, present facts from different news sources. And all I'm going to say is that if you bring something to this table, have something to back it up. Have a link that you can throw into the chat that we can look at. I don't care what source it comes from. It is up to the individual to decide if they want to believe it or not. You can put all the links you want out there for all the stuff you're talking about. But if I look at it and go, yeah, I personally don't believe it, that's my choice. And your choice is to believe it. Doesn't mean I'm calling you a liar. It just means my opinion is I don't believe that. Your opinion is you believe it. So let's try to put civility back into a political conversation where it hasn't been possible as of late. Because, folks, we got to get along, all of us, together. All right. So I just hope that we can do that. And again, I don't care your source. We'll make up our own minds. Each individual person will make up their own minds. Doesn't mean you have to hard sell it. Doesn't mean you have to throw it down our throats. And that goes both ways. Liberal, radical, conservative. What's the word? Oh, God. Oh, goddamn it. Reactionary. That's the far end of the right side is reactionary. So I don't care. I want everyone to be welcomed here and have a say. You don't need to argue with us if we don't believe you. That's okay. We don't have to believe you. It's personal free will. Having said that, anything that I bring to the table, I will have a source for. All right. If you want to look at sources, There is a website, Web Media Bias, I believe it is, or MediaBias.com, I believe it is. Take a look. Take it for what it is. It's up to you. Again, reader's choice. I'm not dictating anything here. Well, other than post a link. That's what I'm insisting on. That's it. If anyone has a problem, don't hang out. I wish you did, but if you don't, sorry. All right. What do I have next? Because my thing here... Oh, I got a fun story to tell you. It's time for this. All right. Looks like I'm back. Hello. So, a few weeks ago, I had a crown put on. Okay, first time I ever had a crown. And it was an interesting process because, I had no idea what to expect first time. So I go in there and they take some x-rays and he's going through and he's doing all this stuff and he's cutting the tooth down. I had a tooth that broke. So he's cutting the tooth down and he's making it into this little nub thing. And I'm like, okay, I hope this thing works. Otherwise, I'll need some gum. Is it sugarless? Okay. So they put this little piece into this machine and the thing spins around and it makes the tooth. Remember the tooth. And it's pretty cool. And then they kind of fit it and then they glue it in there and then they throw a blue light on it, which makes it adhese. Wow, blue light? Excellent. Those people at Kmart, they were onto something. Anyway, so afterwards things were okay. Everything felt all right. There was a little discomfort when the whatever cane I was on, Novocaine, Lidocaine, whatever, Cain and Abel. But everything was fine for about a week. But then, last Saturday morning, I wake up and there's a ton of blood on my pillow, on my shirt, all this stuff. And of course, Mark knows this. The first thing I'm thinking of is, I'm looking under the sheet for the horse's head. I'm just wondering, who did I piss off? And, did Tom Hayden actually visit? So lift up the sheets, no horse's head, all clear. Turns out I'm bleeding from my mouth. And now I've talked about in the past, after my cancer surgery, I talked about my ab vag. So anything I say on here on the health update is, you have to be prepared for it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm going to talk about. So there were blood clots in my mouth as well as blood oozing out of my tooth, where my tooth was. So this continued. It seemed like it didn't bleed a lot during the day, but it only bled at night. So on Sunday morning, I woke up the same thing, and Monday morning, same thing. So I made an appointment with the dentist, and he gave me an explanation of what happened. And basically, he tells me that when they put the crown in, they put some stuff in there, and that stuff may have poked into my gum, and because I have a very thin gum layer, it might have gone onto the mucosa, and that's where the bleeding has happened. So that's where he believes it was. So I did tell him I felt a little like puffy thing behind the tooth. So he's back there with those sharp objects and poking things into my gum and moving things around and pulling and poking. And then after he, hits me with all that, he gives me the cane, the lidocaine, Novocaine, whatever. Took some x-rays, which isn't painful, but yet gave me the Novocaine before the x-rays. And then he starts poking around in there and I can't feel a thing. Fantastic. And then he's like, all right, sit up and rinse. and I'm rinsing, and it's just like a bunch of blood coming out. Bunch of blood. Just a whole bunch. Did I mention a bunch? So he tells me, rinse with some salt water for the next week or so. Here's a rinse you go to the pharmacy and get. And we'll check. Let me know if it's still bleeding in a couple days. So since I left the dentist office, it hasn't bled yet. So what I'm thinking is I put up with about a minute and a half of him jabbing all that without the Novocaine, and all the blood was coming out. I think he drained whatever was in there and then sort of did something to seal it up. I don't know what he did. But we'll see what happens in the next few days. And hopefully we won't have any more blood coming out. And, the last thing I'll say about this, and again, I have to say at least one thing a week that my wife is going to slap me for. She's saying to me when the blood was on the pillowcase, she says to me, "Oh, you got to rinse that, or you got to soak that in cold water." I go, "Cold water? How do you know that?" And she looks at me with that look. I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah." So, hey. Anyway, this has been the Paul Report Health Update. All right, let's see where I ended back up here. Let's see, I'm there. Okay, I need to be back down. Where do I need? I need to be here. Nope, I don't need to be there. Do I need to be there? No, I need to be here. There we go. All right. So this is the part where I was going to play a game, but I don't have a game to play, and that's unfortunate. I was trying to get Hangman to work, but quite frankly, I can't find my iPad. I have no idea where it is. So it's probably in my office somewhere downstairs. So next week, we'll definitely have a game of Hangman. I was going to try a little trivia tonight, but you know what? If I have enough problems with people putting in answers and saying they had it first, but not what I saw, with Hangman, I think trivia is just a headache waiting to happen. So, yeah, sorry, man. No Hangman tonight. But you know what we are going to have, and I wish I had a graphic for it, but I just thought of it just before we started. We're going to have snack time. So everybody, go grab a drink. Oh, that sounded great. It's snack time on the Paul Report. Not brought to you by this product. All right. I also got a Fig Newton at the store. Woohoo! Fig Newton. All right. Trivia question. Here's a trivia question. All right. One trivia question. And I see a bunch of people on. So we'll see if you're in the Gen X space, this is meant for you because, quite frankly, I don't think anyone else would get it outside of Gen X. The Fig Newton was featured in what TV show of the 70s and early 80s when one of the characters had a test to take and another character gave him a Fig Newton, one before the test and one after the test. He could have one before and one after. Who is the character who received it? And for bonus, who's the character that gave him the Fig Newton? Delicious. Anybody? Anybody remember? It's kind of an obscure reference, but it was a very popular show. Very popular. All right. Mark has the show, but who were the characters? That's what I'm asking. Everybody snack. Man, that's good. All right. Who's the character who gave the Fig Newton, And who is the character who received the Fig Newton? He was taking a test for something. I don't remember what the test was for. And let's see. Okay, I'll have to do it. I'm a bit verklempt. I'll give you a subject. The Fig Newton is neither fig or a Newton. Discuss. Ken McDonough for the win. Potsy from Fonzie. Excellent job, Ken, and I'm glad you made it over from Facebook. I'm sorry about the thing just dropped on me. I don't know why. That's right. That's right. It pumps your blood. That's right. And I have no idea why. So great job, Ken. Oh, man. All right. Snack time's over. Got a little trivia out of the way. Perfect. So tonight's main topic, okay, it was going to be about hoarding, but that's going to be next week's show is about hoarding because I found a bunch of information I wanted to research and put together a full package. So we know what next week's about. This week was something that I was thinking about, and hold on a second. You did not want to hear that. This week we're going to talk about driving. Now, this is not on the golf course. This is driving a car or any motorized vehicle. Now, the reason why this came up for a show is yesterday I mentioned I was going to the dentist. And if anyone knows Route 1 and the Lynn Street on-ramp or I should say the Salem Street on-ramp to Route 1, it's a very short entranceway, and there's only 2 lanes there. There's no climbing lane getting onto the southbound side of Route 1. So people who are in the right lane kind of just keep going. And people in the left lane, if they're continuing on, they should kind of move over to the right and let people get on. So there was enough space between the truck that passed and the next car that was coming, this white car that was coming. But that white car decided to accelerate in the right-hand lane. Yeah, right should have moved to the left, but this guy stayed in the lane. So I gun it to get out there, and then he or she, I don't know who was driving, but they just come flying up behind me and then swerve out and then come back in, honking their horn all along. Now, I know that the car was a white Cadillac. So in my mind, I'm thinking, entitled bitch, okay? Again, I don't know if it's a male. I don't know if it's a female. I didn't care. I just said entitled bitch because that could go either way. For me, when I call someone a bitch, it could be a man. It could be a female. It could be a they. It could be a nothing. I don't care. All right? It's all encompassing. You're in one big pile. If you piss me off, you're a bitch. Anyway, so turns out that this person is getting off the same exit I am. So they did all this swerving and they were getting off the same exit. But what is even more troubling is that they're in the left lane, I'm in the right lane, and I come down the right lane, the left lane is stopped. I kind of go with the flow of traffic and I get into the rotary because I got off at Route 60 and I get into the rotary and now I'm like 4 car lengths in front of the Cadillac who just had to pass me. It makes no sense, people. And I know that we see this every freaking day, but it's like, do people, I mean, why do people have to act this way? You know, we got the fast drivers. We got the reckless drivers. Now, I had a guy, again, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Most likely it was a guy because it was a guy car. The guy cars. But they just sort of just like change lanes, and your back bumper and their front, my front bumper and their back bumper are like kissing. Like, hey, how you doing? Okay. And it gets me. The other day, my wife and I were going somewhere, and like Vanilla Ice and his motorcycle gang just came whizzing by on a two lane road. I think it was Route 1 as well. And they're just like vroom, vroom, vroom. Like, and they're doing that whole, drift thing, scraping the ground with their hand on the frickin' highway. That I just don't understand why people don't have safety as their main concern. The roads are busier lately, ever since, the pandemic. The roads have been busier. During the pandemic, they weren't very busy. And before the pandemic, they were. But now they're busy again. People are out. It's like, why do people do these things? Now, you know what, Andre? I know. I know. And it's not fair that I should be the one to disrupt their texting while they're driving. But it's like all my thoughts are here and I can't get them. I can't filter them down because I'm like a jumble right now of all these things. But my question to you, the audience, is, I think it's an age thing. I mean, I'm in my late 50s now, and I don't say and my wife can attest, I still have road rage. That happens. Not with her in the car, but it definitely happens. But it's, what's the difference as far as, like, when I was in my, teens just driving, I think I was a little afraid to drive very fast because, I'm a new driver and I don't want to lose control of the car, whatever. I got into my 20s and I did a little speeding back then. I think the top speed I ever had was about 110. And that was when I was living in Florida back in 1987. And it was like 2 a.m. and I was driving home and there was like nobody on the road. And I just like floored it, and I looked down and the car was going 110. I was in my Camaro, 1984 Camaro, smooth like X-Lax. But I hit about $110, and it felt kind of liberating at the time. But again, I slowed down. I realized how fast I was going. I was done. But I never went that fast again. I think the top speed I ever gone after that was about 85, 90. Okay. And that wasn't very often at all either, because, my cars for some reason have always been towards the shade of red or blue. Okay. But I never have the red car. For some reason, I always get pulled over more. So I just didn't speed very much. But my question to you all is, do you think at your younger years, you're more apt to speed and do all those things? Or is it more of just an overall personality? Like at any age, people will drive fast and recklessly and, all that stuff. What do you think the main factor is of people who drive like that? And that's what I'm looking to you all. I just realized that I have something that I made that I can have the comments come on the screen. Let's see. Are they not coming on? Oh, wait a minute. Right here. There we go. There are our comments. Hello, everybody. Alrighty, so let's see. Let's make this come over here just a little bit. All right. So there are comments that way. All right. So what do you think about that? Do you think that it's an age thing? Do you think it's a personality thing? Do you think it could be both? I guess it could be both. Is it younger that you think you'll live forever? Older, you're a little more reserved. You don't want to, you know, die behind the wheel, because, some of us are going to fall. What's the word? Oh, what was the joke? Oh, some of us are going to, die in our sleep. The other people in our car, not so much. So, let's see, Mark, I'm going to go ahead and post your comment here. When you get older, you know mortally more. Experience with life and more to lose. Yeah, that's true. And kids today, listen to me. Kids today, or kids in any day. I think kids at any age group, they don't see the full value in life yet. They think, oh, live fast, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. What do we have from Andre here? Let's see. Andre says, young kids drive anything they drive fast. Older guys who still drive fast are usually douchebag driving BMWs. I would tend to agree with you on that, Andre. I do see a lot of folks, older guys and older women too. I've seen older women drive fast as well, but I've seen mostly older guys. With the top down, their laurel wreath around their head, because they're bald up here and just have the wreath part. And, they're speeding with their one hand on the wheel and they're just zipping out of traffic and stuff. And, I've seen that a thousand times. Or, you get the, which guy is it? The guy that, has the newer, like, Mustang, or sometimes, it's a BMW and stuff, but they're younger and they got the slick hair and they got the look, and, you're thinking maybe they're, connected or whatever. So you don't really pay attention to them, but just let them go. But, I don't know. It just seems, let's see what Ken has to say here. Ken, definitely age and not having a care for anything other than I have to beat my friends. Yeah, I think in groups it's even worse, because you do see packs of the youngins out with their what are those cars? The Mitsubishis, a lot of different things. But they go in packs and they all have the kind of things. And they again zip through traffic, or maybe there's a chase going on, like one's trying to kill the other one. Who knows? But you see that a lot too. Let's see. Andre, young kids think they're invincible and they think they're playing Gran Turismo. Well, better Gran Turismo than Grand Theft Auto, right? Right. Okay. Mark. Yeah. Okay. Son, you want to keep your job? Get off the drugs. Okay? All right. Here at McDowell's, we have the Golden Arc. Okay. So I just feel like as the older we get, the more we realize how stupid it is. Most of us feel how stupid it is to drive recklessly. Now, I've said this in the past before, and part of me still feels it, but I think that I'm softening my tone a little bit of it. But I see people in cars, but mostly on motorcycles, young people, and I feel bad when I hear about a crash involving a young person. And when I hear that crash was caused by the driver of a car or something else, then my heart hurts, because, you got to look out for motorcycles. They're everywhere. That's what the bumper sticker says. But it really is true. You really got to look out for them. And if they're driving responsibly, if they're riding responsibly, and something happens, that's a tragedy. Okay? However, when you see these guys zipping in and out of traffic, going between cars, like on the white line on the highway, and they're like doing all the reckless stuff, and then you hear about one of them going $120 and then wiping out. I feel bad for their family, but I really am hard pressed to feel any sympathy for them. And the reason being is that you have to know that going that speed is an invitation to kill yourself. All right? And I really want to feel bad for them. Like, I'm sorry you lost your life for being a dick. But I feel bad for your family because they have to live with the grief. Your suffering is done. But the rest of us, or your family, has to live with that, and have the benefit for you to, raise awareness for motorcycle safety and stuff like that, or have a 5K or, a bowling tournament or whatever for your dumb ass. So if this gets out to anybody who does that, think for a moment. Just think. Dude, okay. Oh, God. Back in the day, I wanted to drive fast, but my Suzuki Samurai wouldn't let me. Dude, I drove in that Samurai many a times. And let me tell you, if we hit like a roll of lifesavers, that car would fall apart. And there was no speed happening on that. It had like a 1-cylinder in it. But hey, it beat the piece of shit that I had, which was my legs. Okay? So, yeah. The Samurai. I forgot about the Samurai. Samurai was cool. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. One other thing. It's a phenomenon known as rubbernecking. Now, this, by all means, is like, really? Really? Like, you're driving, and then you got to slow down. Then you're crawling. Everyone on this side is going pretty fast, but you're crawling. All right, must be an accident. All right, must be right in the center lane because everything slows down. And then you drive up to it, you get to it, and then there you go. It's on the side of the road. It's on the shoulder. Oops, soft shoulder. It's either on the shoulder or on the grassy knoll, or it's, somewhere else, not on the road. But everybody stops, and it's like, and everyone slows down to like 5 miles an hour. But as soon as you pass it, it's the pissed off factor. Like, are you effing kidding me? That I had to sit and wait for that, and I can't even see really anything? You fools! I just told my wife the other day that if I was going to get a tattoo, I would get a picture of Wallace Shawn on my arm, and then the whole "you fool, you fell victim to one of the classic blunders" speech going all the way down my arm. That would be my tattoo. Tell me that's not the coolest tattoo you ever heard of. Don't wait for the translation! Answer me now! Do my eyes deceive me? Was Brian Cooper here? Brian said it's difficult to point. Stupid and arrogant drivers come in all ages. I agree. And I think that was the consensus here, that it does happen in all ages. But I just see it more in the younger crew, and I just wish that they could just gain an insight to, knowing the risk that they're taking, that they're not made of, a space age polymer that they'll never break. I mean, knock on wood, I've never broken a bone in my body in my life. Of course, I haven't done shit that would cause me to break a bone in my body. Well, that's not true. I did go skiing a couple times, and I did fall down a mountain once. Once. My sister made me fall down a mountain once. Once. No. But yeah, I was pushed off a cliff once and fell into a hard pile of sand right on my butt, and I don't know how I survived that. I don't know how I didn't compress my spine. I don't know. Anyway, Paul Hanrahan, if you're out there somewhere, I can't forgive you for that, buddy. Can't forgive you for that. No, I'm just kidding. It's all right, Paul. Go in peace. Yeah, so I don't know where the hell I was, but what time we got here? God, it's already 8:51. I was thinking this would take a half hour tonight. All right, cool. We had a fair bit of listeners on tonight. So I'll wrap it up this way because, I don't have any screen graphics. I got nothing to show you. Well, I got this. Let's see. Where's my... Here we go. It's my lower third. That's me. All right. Go away. Go away. This way. Go away. Go away. There you go. Okay, that might be going on a little too long. Brian, I'm really glad you stopped by. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Of course, I can't recognize you with that beard. Can't recognize you. That's crazy. That's what, like a year of growth or something? I don't know how you do it. I don't know how. Dan Haggerty did it, but Brian Cooper, he did it. He got a beard like this, like it's out here and it's down to here, and then his hair up here is like all friggin' like a mane, like he's a lion or something. I wish I could do that. I wish I had that kind of growth. But this is like 17 years of growth that I have on my face right now. It just doesn't grow. It just doesn't. But good on you, man. Good on you. Quite frankly, I'd be hiding stuff in there. I'd be putting like little snacks in there and stuff. And then just like, oh, excuse me, I need to get a snack. Oh. So, yeah. But good to see you here, though. Good to see everybody here. I really do appreciate it. So next week, the topic will be hoarding. So gather all your belongings and come on in for a topic, a discussion on hoarding. Tell all your friends, and I'll put out a feeler for this. And if you see any of my posts for the Paul Report and you feel like sharing them out, that would be great. Maybe I'll get a guest for next week regarding hoarding. I'm trying. I have a little bit of snack left, so I'm just so delicious. Everybody drink. All right. Well, I'm not going to waste a lot of time. However, my closings are always just messy. Whoring? No, not whoring. That's the week after. Hoarding. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to keep this, and this, and I'm never going to get rid of it. Ever. Ever. And when I tell you that I got a basement full of stuff that I'm never getting rid of, honey, ever, you can believe it. I'm talking from experience now. I'm not even talking about people who do it. I have no idea. This is something I know a little bit about. So, just so you know, these are my insulin sticks. And these are my boomsticks. So, yeah. Okay. What do you mean see you in 2 weeks? Oh, you going away next week? You're not going to Aruba again, are you? I love Aruba. I want to go back. But oh well. Ken's going to miss the whoring. I'm sorry, the hoarding. Hoarding is next week, whoring the week after that. So, uh, yes, he was in both. Absolutely in both. Um, so, yeah, all right. I'm really going to wrap it up this time. Again, I have lousy luck with closing out the show. At some point, I'll probably just write a script for that week. So when it's ready to close out the show, I could say something like, hey, everybody, I'm using my radio voice. Thanks for watching the Paul Report. I am going to hopefully be making the move over to YouTube exclusively. I just don't want to deal with Facebook and their stuff. So hopefully more people will come over here. And if they haven't liked my page yet, they can like it. I need like 40 some odd more subscribers or 60 more subscribers so I can get a permanent link. So that way I don't have to post it every week. You just go to the same link every time. So yeah, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's see. No, Caraco in 11 weeks. Oh, cool. Caraco. Is that how you say it? Caraco? Isn't that a drink too? I don't know. See, closings, I always get to the chat and then I lose focus. I don't know why. All right. 7 months it took you to grow that beard. 7 months. And what does your lady friend think of it? Does she like it? Does she have a thought about it? Like, it's a little rough. Rough, like your mother likes it, Trebek. Oh. Yeah, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of upkeep when it gets like that. I mean, it really doesn't look like it's kept on like a daily basis. It looks like maybe you might brush it out every once in a while, but if you let it keep going, it's just going to dread. Now that's a look. If you don't brush it, don't do anything, it'll dread all by itself. Yeah, man. All right. Again, I'm really gonna do it this time. I'm really gonna do it. I'm out of here, folks. Have a great week. Be good to each other. Be civil to one another. That's all I'm trying to say. Be civil, not civil, Ken. Civil. 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 Okay. And we will see you next week on. Where are we? We're at the Paul Report. All right. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye-bye. I don't know if this is... No, that's not it. Oh, I don't have it. All right. I'll just do this. Bye.